it's always a lot of early morning, a lot of either, later early flights or, uh, you know, long drives, not a lot of sleep. I'm running really low on sleep. And you kind of just think about the work part of it. Think about, that's something I gotta do. It's something you go and do. And then I try to get better at kind of stopping and taking it in and thinking that, my work is really fun.
Okay, welcome back to the KO'd Convo, ladies and gentlemen. Keenan O'Doherty here. Have a very, very special guest. First guest we've had in a while, but no one better. Ida Zetterström. Motorsports extraordinaire, should I say, right off the bat. Obviously, coming over from Europe to the States now, making her mark on the drag racing circuit in NHRA. Ida, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to it.
So we talked before the Sonoma Nationals, right?
Yep.
And it was the first time you had actually raced at Sonoma. Obviously, it didn't go your way. But now you're coming off your first final appearance this weekend, so
Yes.
I don't know why, but this is like perfect timing for you to come on.
Yes, it is.
um,
Absolutely.
um, in over in Madison. Was this kind of like a turning point for you? Reaching your first final in the States?
It kind of feels like it. Yes, it feels like it's been a long time coming. And I know that in NHRA, especially class like Top Fuel, it is not a given to, go rounds on Sunday. These are the best drivers and the best teams in the world. So we knew coming over here, this, starting up a brand new team and, coming out here and running is not an easy task, but we've been struggling. Like we have been struggling this year. We've had a lot of first round losses and it really takes a toll on you. And we have been working incredibly hard on our program, obviously, to be able to come out here and show that we can run with the best in the world. And I am working harder than I've ever have to be able to find the partners needed to be out here full time next year. So there was so much at stake when we came into this race, and we weren't actually gonna be there. Like that was not a race that was on our schedule. We added it Monday coming into race week, so it was very much a late entry and a surprise for many people that we showed up. But we'd found some good performance, and our team owner said, "Let's get that car out there. Like it's important that we can finally show, what we've been working for so long." And I feel like that was exactly what we did, and I think it's definitely a turning point for us, and I feel like it's proved a lot of people that have maybe doubted us for a long time that when we have everything running like it should, we can be out here and run with the best.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's pretty spectacular to kind of even from Sonoma to kind of watch you guys grow, because I know you said you only have or were scheduled, like you said, for a handful of races this year due to sponsorships and all that stuff, which we'll get to in a bit here. But um, first final, was there anything like new that you had to do, considering you're actually making it this far in the Sunday and things like that, in terms of, I don't know, adjustments you have to make to the car? Did you have to get a brand new car? Did you have to change out the engine? I don't know, for like someone who's pretty new into motorsports, how would you kind of describe the Sunday, going from the early eliminations all the way up to the finals?
Yeah, going 4 rounds on Sunday is hectic, and not just obviously for the driver, but for the teams. It's just putting these cars together, taking them apart and putting them together between every round. It's like a really sweaty, gym pass every time. Like you're going out there, so it takes a toll on everybody to do it. But this is what we want to do, and we have all done it in the past. I mean, I won championships over in Europe, both in top fuels and on the bike. So going rounds on Sunday is not something that we are new to. It's just been a while. So it's definitely felt like we got dusted off, have not done this for a while and get to kind of blow the cobwebs off on that. when we go testing, we can make 4 laps in a day. The difference is that when you go testing, you can choose when you want to line up your car and go down there and make that pass. So if you need an extra 30 minutes, you get an extra 30 minutes. When you are on race day in NHRA and you have a TV schedule to run after, no, you don't get any extra time. When you're supposed to be there, you're supposed to be there. But everybody did a fantastic job. You know, our team, uh, we looked like we had done that a lot of times already because nothing went wrong. We really had everything together. We swapped the whole motor for the fourth elimination round. Normally, you do that just because when you're running so many passes back to back on the same engine, you're building a lot of heat in it. So a lot of times the teams do 2 or 3 runs on Sunday and then they might swap it. But yeah, we got some extra hands on the team for the final round there. We both had Ron Caps Motorsport and our funny car team, Alexis de Georgia's team here for JCM Racing came over and helped us. So definitely, all hands on deck, and we all just kind of, went back to gritty, stay your course and do your thing. And for me, I like this. This is when you don't have the time to sit down and you don't have the time to just kind of hang around. That's a good day. You should be able to just go, 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 and then when you've made your 4 passes, hopefully you can hoist a wally and it's worth it. This time we got very close, but we didn't get that final trophy at the end of it. But no, I'm really proud of my team for kind of uh, doing all that, and I felt like I was back in the championship form that I've had in the past, being able to go in between runs. And my main focus on days like this is to just do your normal thing, your normal routine. Just keep going. Don't think too much about it. Don't stress it. Just get down and do what you normally do. I mix the fuel in between runs. I fuel the car, do my parachutes. And usually when you're done with all that, it's time to warm up the car again.
Yeah. So what is your routine? What is the routine of a top dragster look like as you're heading into a race?
Well, when we start race day morning, it's making sure that you have nitro mixed, and that takes a little while. So you do that, you mix your nitro, fuel up your car, getting everything ready, making sure you have your GoPro cameras in the car and whatever it is that you kind of get ready for the day. I take all my helmet and everything out in the tow car and make sure that everything is ready, and then warm up the car. And after the warm up, sometimes try to eat a little breakfast. I had a little bit to eat there in the morning and grab a coffee and then kind of just waited to head down for first round. But it's in between rounds where it starts to get very hectic. So normally you get back from top end from, you win the round, you go and weigh the car, you get the car back to the pit, and instantly when it gets back to the pit, the guys start disassembling the car. And I run in, I give my time slip to my crew chiefs, I give them feedback for, how certain things felt or what went right or wrong or whatever it might have been. Jump out of my suit because it's normally very hot. It was a hot weekend again for us here. And then just run out and start doing your routine. So my routine is, getting those parachutes down, start packing the parachutes, get help from someone on the team to put them in the parachute kind of bags. When you're done with that, I run straight over to fuel, start, fueling up the race car. When the race car is fueled up, you start mixing more fuel. So you get fuel ready for warm up and then fuel ready for the next round. So that if you win that round and you come back, you have your fuel mixed. And when you're done with all of that, the only other thing I do is kind of trying to get fluid in between all this running and get, your liquid IVs or whatever it is you have and start drinking water. And then but by the time you're done with all those things, that's usually when they're ready to warm up. So then we warm up. After warm up, you go in, you get dressed, you put your suit back on. And that's normally when if everything is smooth, you have 5 minutes or so to lay down in the lounge where we have the AC on and kind of just breathe for a few minutes. And then you get back in the tow car and you head back down. So there's not a whole lot of waiting around or, sometimes it's like, oh, I wish I had time to create some other routines in between. But no, it's go, go, go when we're at the track.
Is that the way you like it though, or are you a person that just wants to keep moving, just doesn't want to really sit down?
Yeah, that's also what I'm used to, with all the racing I've done. I mean, I raced bikes for many years. We had our own bikes. I did the clutch on both bikes. So it was never, a long calm moment in between runs. If it was probably because there was an oil down or, a delay of some sort, rain or whatever. But the good days, you go in and you get your work done. When you're ready, grab something to drink, make sure you're hydrated, you get back on there and you go out and race. And it's the same when I raced the cars in Europe. We always had stuff to keep us busy in between runs. We had to mix that fuel, pack those chutes, and make sure that everything was done. So usually that's a sign of a good race day. So for me, that's what a good day is.
Yeah, absolutely. Switching gears real quick, but obviously we'll come back to this. But not only are you a motorsports extraordinaire and top tier racer, but you're now becoming a big TV personality, doing all these doing all these sideline reportings and things like that. How has that been for you? You know, taking the mic and really doing that kind of stuff. And has Joe Casello given you any pointers? That's my question too.
Yeah, when I got asked to do that in the beginning of the year, I knew I was only racing about half a season, and just like we talked about, I'm not the best at just sitting around. So I knew that if I was going to all the races and the only thing I would be doing is to be there, support my teammate. I love my teammate. I love to support her, but I can't just sit around and do that for the whole weekend. So them kind of putting me to work was good. I still get more nervous doing that, that I can get into the race car just because it's hard. It's out of my element. English is also my second language, so I always get afraid I'm gonna get something messed up or pronounce something wrong. But I also feel like it's a way for me to grow. Obviously, the more time you spend on the mic, no matter which side of it is, you kind of get a better routine for it, and you can be better for it. So I feel like it's something that I can do for helping me, my team, and my sponsors. So it's been good. It's not as good as being in the race car. It could be really frustrating on Sunday watching, we look at the performance facts and you can see that the track is fantastic and you just want to be there and be in a race car and have a shot at it. But instead you're sitting there and talking about how well everybody else is driving. So it can definitely be frustrating. But I think it was also one of those things where you really feel your passion really deeply, because when you're in there and you're kind of devastated you're not in a race car, you kind of know know where you want to be. But no, I've been happy to be able to do that with NHRA. Joe Costello has given me a few pointers. He did give me some good pointers my first day. I was in top end and started basically every interview by saying, "Hey, I'm here in top end," and he's like, "You don't have to say that." Gotcha. Again, I did better. Yes, but I appreciate all the pointers from everybody. The work that all the announcers do is pretty amazing. I mean, I have it easy because I also don't have to mention everything that they do. They keep track of everybody's sponsors and everybody's staffs and all of that. I don't know, my brain capacity is full with some of the other stuff I'm doing, so I feel like I cannot remember all that. It's very impressive seeing some of them at work. So no, it's cool. It really is.
So you were born in Sweden, correct? And did you grow up in Stockholm or Sweden itself, or did you grow up somewhere else?
I grew up in just outside of Stockholm for my first 12 years, and then we moved to a small island that's located in between Sweden and Finland. So it's actually a Finnish island. So I'm half Swedish, half Finnish. My dad is Swedish, my mom is Finnish. So I'm right now running with a Finnish passport, but I'm also Swedish if I want to do dual. So I kind of grew up a little bit in Sweden and a little bit in Finland.
So you don't have a favorite one or the other in terms of Swedish or
I
Finnish or
I can't speak any Finnish, so I did race for the Finnish Federation for a few years, which was great. But I didn't understand anything what they said. I went to, the award ceremonies. I could not understand a word except for when they said my name and, you went up there basically. But I'm now racing for Sweden and for the Swedish motorsport team, the Swedish national team. So that's very cool. That's how I got my start. I started racing when I was in Sweden and I only speak Swedish. So being, associated with the Swedish national team has been fantastic for me. And we're able to try and grow the drag racing side of that team as well. So I love that I get to be a part of that.
yeah. Do you still race bikes pretty frequently, or is it because of
I
how busy your
don't.
schedule is?
Yeah, so basically, when I started racing Top Fuel, I put the bike to the side because in Europe they're both pro classes. So a lot of times they race back to back. So there's no way that you could have ran both. You wouldn't even have been able to, change out from the leather into your race suit to be able to do that. So we kind of had to put it on the side. I sold my main race bike in, let's see, 22, and 23 was the last time I rode it. The guy that bought it wanted me to come over and test it for him. So I went over and did a test session in Sweden, and that's the last time I rode it. I do have a twin for that bike. We built basically a twin bike that is still sitting in my garage at home at Allen Islands, and I'm looking into shipping options to see if we can ship it over
Oh,
here. It would be great to be able to run it a little bit over here and maybe even see if we can find it a new owner here, and help someone else get started in the sport. It's a great bike.
yeah. Yeah, well, I know you're big into all the having all these cars and stuff, and American muscle cars and all this fun stuff. So whatever you can
Yep.
drive around, I'm sure you could just drive around. So starting at the very beginning here. So if you remember, obviously if you were like 3 weeks old or something, you probably don't remember. But if you remember your first memory at a racetrack to really get you started and really got your
Ooh.
adrenaline flowing, what would it be?
That's a hard question because I can't really pinpoint my first race because obviously I was 3 weeks old when I went to my first race. So I can't really
You actually were three
say.
weeks old. I
Yeah,
didn't.
I
I
was
was.
3 weeks old. Yeah, exactly. I thought you knew that. So next since you got it so spot on. But no, I was 3 weeks old, so I can't really remember it. But I do obviously remember being in the race pit with my parents, growing up, and all the other kids that were at the track when you were growing up. I know a lot of races I went with my dad to where he was working, with different race teams, and a lot of the times he left me with the racers' wives, and they, braided my hair and took me down to the starting line, and we watched the cars, and a lot of kind of fun events at night. When I was really small, we had the mopeds and drove at night, around with all the kids, and it was just a lot of that. But obviously, one of the earliest memories is Top Fuel. Just the feeling of being. I was not old when I was down at the starting line the first time when Top Fuel. I know in NHRA, I think you got to be 18 to be down at the starting line. I think I was probably 5, standing next to the cars down at the starting line. So it's a feeling you can't describe if you haven't, been there and felt it. It shakes you to your core. And a lot of people talk about the sound, but for me, it's not so much the sound, it's the feeling. So that's some of those early memories that I obviously have, plus seeing all the junior dragsters and just keep bugging my dad asking when I can get one myself and when I can start.
Do you think back, to when you were 5 years old at the starting line and think back all the way up till now? If you had told your 5-year-old self back then, oh, you're going to be one of the top dragsters in the world, right? You're going to be driving for in the NHRA circuit. Like, what would you have even believed yourself back then?
Yes and no. I mean, the funny thing is that, like, when I was 8 years old and I raced junior dragster, I saw an interview with myself on a Swedish television show, and they asked me, "Oh, what you gonna do when you get out of junior?" And I said, "Well, when I'm 18, I'm gonna race Top Fuel." That was what I wanted to do. And then you turn 18 and you kind of laugh at yourself. I'm like, how do you think that was gonna happen? I don't have the connections or the economy to go race Top Fuel when you're 18. I mean, that's almost impossible. So it took me many, many more years until I reached it. So I think 5-year-old me would probably have said, yes, that's what I want to do. That's where I want to be. But then if you would have asked 18-year-old me, I would probably have said, no, that's too far away. Trying to get there, but that felt like a really far fetched dream.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, are there any more dreams now that you're here that you've technically made it? Obviously, probably NHRA champion, things like that. But are there any more dreams or goals that you have lined up for yourself, or are you kind of one of those people that just kind of takes it as it goes?
No, I mean, I feel like I haven't reached my dreams and goals where I want to be, because I don't want to be just here competing. I want to be out here winning races and winning championships. And I'm also not someone that would just be content with having raced in NHRA. I wanna win many races out here, and I wanna win championships out here and be here for many years and be someone that made an impact on the sport, not just competed because that was the goal. There's so many. Obviously, you can have small goals along the way, but there's so many big goals that I still feel like I am so far away from. Obviously, the first goal we're fighting so hard for right now is to be able to run a full season, because competing every now and then is one thing, but when you really want to run with the best, you got to be out there and run all the races. There's no other way to be able to be at this level that we need to be. And there's also no way to chase a championship if you're not running the full season. So it's that's definitely the biggest goal for me at the moment. But looking forward further ahead, there's obviously championships that I want to achieve in my future.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of going back to, the whole running the full season bit. What are kind of the challenges and, I don't want to say difficulties, but I guess challenges, that drivers in your position face, that some people may not really look at as much of a challenge that really is a challenge, and being able to run that full season.
Yeah, I mean there's different ones. If you look at not running a full season in the situation we are in right now, imagine it if you're going to, the Olympics or the World Series or something, but you can only practice half of the time compared to everybody else you're competing against. That's kind of the situation we are in right now, and it makes it incredibly hard to come out here with the best drivers and the best teams in the world when they have double the amount of data, they have, double the amount of runs, they get to, hit that Christmas tree more than I do, they get to, have that seat time. Plus, most of them, they have like 20 years on me as well, being out here. So it's not just the fact of, right now, but I'm basically playing catch up every time I'm coming out to try and be on the same level as they are. So that's something that's hard. The other hard part is that when you're searching for funding to be out here full time, it is harder to offer them the same thing when you're not racing full time, because you can't say we're out here chasing a championship, we're out here, every race. This is all the TV numbers from NHRA, whatever it might be. We only have half of that, and we can't say we're chasing a championship until we're out here full time. So all of that it is very hard. It makes it very hard to be as consistent in, and not just for me, but obviously for our whole team. We all said when we went into St. Louis, we hadn't been racing in over a month. So you come out there and you kind of say that, or about a month basically. You're like, feels like it's been a long time. Feels like it's been a long time since we were in the car. Feels like it's been a long time since we did a turnaround, since we've done, all this. So on so many levels, it makes it harder when you're not racing full time. The other part is obviously we have a lower budget than most of these other teams. We are one of the only teams on our level that only have one trailer. Most of every team have, they have a tech trailer, a sport trailer, a race trailer, and a tech trailer. So you have more space, you have um, more parts with you. That's another thing. We don't have the same parts budget that these big teams do. We gotta play it a little conservative at some point, because if we hurt too many parts, we can't keep racing. So all of that makes it harder. When there's throwdown conditions and everybody throws down, you usually see, you see some popped injectors, you see some blow ups, but everybody's going for it. We might not always be in a situation where we can do that, because if we do, we might not have enough parts to go to the next race. So there's a lot of, being a low budget team and running part time. It has a lot of difficulties. Another part of here is the fact that you need money to go racing, and someone like me, I don't come from money. I don't have those connections. A hard part is there's so many people that comes up to us and say, well, I'm sure you can get a ride somewhere. You're marketable. It's not about that, It's about the money you have. It's about the funding, and that's how you do all this. And that's also why I'm so proud of signing with Joe Maynard, because he said that he did not want to do that. He is one of the teams out here that said he wanted to go with the talent and what he thinks is the next generation of champions, and not with the drivers that had the most money. And that is something I'm really you know proud of our team to be able to get the opportunity to race for him. Yes, we're still chasing those dollars. We still don't have a full season, but the fact that he chose me because he saw potential, not because he saw a big check, that means a lot.
Yes. Um, I mean, going back to your debut in 2024 then, and before you signed with JCM and stuff like that, were there other options on the table, or was it always JCM for you?
Um, Yeah, I got some other opportunities throughout the years. Some of them was with, smaller teams, a race deal here and there, but not all of them were teams that would be sh- as strong, as we felt like we wanted to be coming out here. And the partners that I did have with me and that we had, won championships with in Europe, I felt for them, we need to be with a team and a car that can come out here and compete when we come out on a race weekend. It wouldn't feel fair if we knew that we didn't have the equipment to be able to do that. So some of them I had to turn down for that option. And then I also had some other opportunities that would have been a full-time deal, but a lot of the times it did not align with the partners I had. I would have to leave basically every partner that I had worked so hard on gaining. And, you know, the partners I worked with in Dodge and Edelbrock and VP Racing and everybody that I brought with me when I came over here, that was, brands that had stood by me through my racing career in Europe. And it was very important for me to find a home for them over here. And it didn't feel right to have to leave all of them to jump on another opportunity there. And when Joe and I met, I was actually in US to talk to another team about a potential deal. I met Joe and we kind of really aligned on the business to business side where I have worked on the business side of racing for my whole career. Obviously, since I didn't have the money to just pay out of pocket to go race, the business side was so important for me. How I market myself, my brand, how I work together with partners, and the B2B side. So when me and Joe talked about that, we were really aligned, and he really wanted me to be a big part of that, and not just come in as the driver, but come in more of a partner with him, and you know, find these deals together. And that was something that was very interesting to me because I felt like I could keep part of what I had built for so many years and find a new home for it with JCM.
Yeah. So do you feel like the best is yet to come with JCM?
Yeah, we are very much right now at a point where we really need to find partners for next year, and we don't have that much time to seal the deal. If we don't, next year is very much up in there for us. Very much not sure what's gonna happen because we need the partners to be able to run next year. If we find it, I can 100% say that the best is yet to come. I feel like if we can get the chance to run for full seasons and chase a championship out here, then you have seen very little of what we can do so far.
Yeah, yeah, well, absolutely. Let's talk about your brand real quick because you are just so like active on Instagram. It's crazy. If you haven't followed her yet, it's Drag Sophia. You can always see her winking at the camera through her helmet or something like that. um, but it's amazing content, and it's
Thank you.
it's something that I think you have gotten obviously have gotten better at throughout the time here. I mean, was that something that you've always just liked doing and things like that, just creating that sort of content on social media?
Well, it kind of started when I started racing the bike. When I started racing the bike, it's obviously a lot cheaper than it is racing Top Fuel, but it was still very expensive, especially when you have to do it on I didn't have the money to put into it, so I needed to find partners to do it. And I started sharing kind of my story and our team's story on social media because we built our own bikes, we built our own engines, we had our own program, we ran everything ourselves. So I could really show the behind the scenes stuff of it, show us working on the bike, show us getting ready for a race, show us traveling to a race, what we were doing between rounds and so on. And it started with kind of sharing all that content. And I will say when I started, I was not the one that had myself in a whole lot of pictures. It was more of like about the bike or, some photos when we raced and so on. I quickly noticed though that people cared less about the action shots on the track and more about the behind the scenes stuff because obviously you can see that on a live stream or you can find those photos anywhere, but they wanted to see the kind of hard work that went on behind the scenes and know a little bit more about what went into this race or this win or whatever it might have been. I remember when I started sharing kind of stories and talking to the camera, I felt so awkward. That was not something that I felt that I was good at all. But I also noticed that it made me get closer to my followers and my fan base because it feels like, you're talking to them and you get a whole lot of more feedback back, a whole lot of more kind of responses when you do that than instead of just posting a story with a text on it. So the more I did it, the more comfortable I got with it. Like I said in the beginning, I had a really hard time with it, but the more I did it, it felt more natural. And by this time now, I don't have a problem doing it at all because I do feel like I'm talking to my loyal followers, and we really built a great fan base. I know that I've seen, certain accounts grow really, really quick and maybe not always for the right reasons. You kind of go viral or so on, but we've really grown organically and my fan base really, really cares for what I race. And it doesn't matter if I get on a bike or in a car, they're supporting me because they like me and my brand and our racing story. And that is something that I take a lot of pride in because I really love the support we get from there. And then obviously that is also what the sponsors want. The sponsors, social media right now. I just pulled a social media report today and I had, was it over 9 million views on Facebook and Instagram alone for this last 28 days.
My
So I
goodness.
think together with all my social media, we were way up over 10 million views in 28 days and reached, I think it was 5-6 million accounts like solely on those. So it's, you can reach a lot of eyeballs when you are on Fox Racing, but we control the narrative a whole lot more in our own social media, and I can show more than what you don't just see the passes down track and the top end interviews. I can actually share what went on in the pit. I can share, me and Alexis celebrating after a run because we're happy to do so. I can give them more background to the stories basically. So it's I take a lot of pride in doing that. It was not easy in the beginning, and I remember spending, an hour on a, a little 10-20 second video that you posted on social media. But eventually you got better at it, and I kept doing it more and more. And at this point, I don't want to give it away. Like we did hire a great social media manager for JCM Racing this year, and Elise is the one that captures all of our videos and our photos, but then she shares everything with me, and I'm the one that edits all my own stuff and puts music to it and writes all my captions and posts everything. So I'm the one that has the access to my own social media. So everything that comes from my page is from me, but obviously we got a great girl that gets all that content for us. I could leave it to her too. She would do a fantastic job with it, but I don't want it because it's mine. It's something I've
Yeah.
built for so long, and I don't want to lose touch with it. So that's basically it.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the behind the scenes stuff. Obviously, we saw when you made the final, Alexis came into the trailer, gave you a big hug, and it seemed like you were very surprised to get a hug from Alexis. I'm not sure if you were still in shock from making the final or what it was, but that behind the scenes stuff is pretty wholesome. Were you surprised that she gave you a hug, or were you surprised that you still made the final? I don't know which one
No,
it was.
I was more surprised because we only have one trailer, so normally nobody really comes up in the lounge. It's just I go up there. You saw my cruise ships in the background. I handed him a time slip, and it was kind of we weren't really sharing a whole lot. It was just race mode, and then I turned around and she tackled me with a hug. So it was just it was a great surprise in that way. I was very happy, and I love the support we have on our team. Alex is coming on board this year. It's been fantastic. Her and I working together and the whole team basically. I feel like it's a great level of energy that I have never had on a team like that before. So it's fantastic and really happy she's here. I mean, sometimes it's mostly been her going rounds, and I'm the one that's there cheering on her. So this was fantastic. Me finally being able to go rounds and that she was there cheering me on just made it all that much better.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously you've got a great story, and you're living seems like a fantastic life, kind of in like dreamland, right? You're now going to premieres and all this other stuff, and and you're just everywhere. It seems like is this do you feel like you're in a dream, or is it reality for? I'm not sure.
I'm really bad at stopping and taking in stuff like that because all of that is obviously work. I mean, not taking anything away from it, I am having so much fun with everything I'm doing. And no matter if I'm going to a premiere or if it's, doing something for Dodge or it's an event, um, it's so much fun, but it's still work. So for me, when I plan all of these things, it's always a lot of early morning, a lot of either, later early flights or, uh, you know, long drives, not a lot of sleep. I'm running really low on sleep. And you kind of just think about the work part of it. Think about, that's something I gotta do. It's something you go and do. And then I try to get better at kind of stopping and taking it in and thinking that, my work is really fun. It's just it's a lot. I get some people. I saw a comment the other day on social media where they said that, well, I don't think Ida's gonna be a big deal in drag racing because she seems to want to do media stuff more than she want to drive the car, and stuff like that pisses me off because the reason I do media stuff is to be
Uh-oh.
able to run the race car.
Uh,
Those two goes hand in hand. It's if you don't go out here and you do the media and you do everything for your sponsors and you put your name out there and you build your brand, I won't be able to find the funding to get into that race car. But all of these things that I do is because I want to be in the race car. It is not that I enjoy that more than racing. It's the sole reason I do it because I want to get into the race car. Don't take me wrong, like it's super fun to do all these
I'm
things, but
sure.
it's because I want to be in the race car.
Well, I'm sure, but I mean, if my life's work was getting in a car and going 304 miles an hour, I would be it would be hard for me to take in stuff too because I'd be going so fast. But this is, I mean, for example, like you said, I think, and you're gonna have to correct me on this because I can't remember off the top of my head, but didn't you take a plane to Charlotte, but then you had to turn right around and go somewhere completely different last minute? Was that right?
Yeah, and that was kind of all planned. I flew to Charlotte early morning. It was 5 a.m. at the airport. Flew to Charlotte for a podcast. So I recorded a podcast there that will be released very soon. Did that on Wednesday, and then I had a photo shoot on Thursday. And packed my bags, and then Friday morning I drove over to Bristol. So I had a PR day in Bristol where we were filming at the Bristol Dragway, and then I went to the movie premiere of London Calling, which was fantastic, really fun. PR event there. Got to walk the red carpet and see the movie with Jeremy Ray Taylor, and that was also the actor that we were filming with at the Bristol Motor Speedway that day. So really fun. And then I was gonna drive back to Charlotte on the morning of Saturday. So I had to leave Charlotte or leave Bristol 8 a.m. in the morning to be able to make it to Charlotte for announcing in Top End on Saturday morning. And it was actually funny because when I was there, we had one of the guys that built the movie replica car that we were filming with. They talked about a really cool place in Bristol that was called the Snake, which has basically a road up through the mountains and then down. And they said, well, if you would have stayed, we could have taken you there. And I said, yeah, I gotta leave 8 a.m. in the morning, so it would be early. And he picked me up at 5:30 in the morning, coffee in hand, and we drove up. And then I got to drive down. So it was really, really fun. Sometimes I get to squeeze in all of those fun things on those PR trips, and I think those are kind of the, small, uh, kind of little extra diamonds that I cherish a lot when there's some extra fun stuff that we can kind of squeeze in. So I didn't get a lot of sleep that night. I was a little tired getting to Charlotte, but can say I've driven the Snake, so it was really fun. I
There you
appreciate them
go.
doing that. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Looking at all the amazing drivers that have driven just in motorsports, not just NHRA or on the European circuit or stuff like that. If you had to pick, let's say there was like a Mount Rushmore of four best drivers in your mind, and obviously you can include yourself if you want to. If you had to pick four of the best drivers, past or present, to be on your Mount Rushmore, let's just keep it easy and let's just go top fuel here. Who would be on the list?
Well, that's a really hard question, honestly. I wouldn't place myself on that list yet. I hope one day I can deserve to be on
Oh,
that
you're too
that
humble.
list.
You're too humble.
There's still a lot more I need to get done, I feel like. But um well, if we look at it in Europe, way before I raced, there was a woman racing called Liv Burstad, and she raced for the same team that I raced with, Rune Fjeld Motorsport. So that was very, very, it was back in the days, but at that point she was one of the best drivers and also one of the best at marketing. They had really big sponsors. They had back in that day several big European brands, and they also had Mobile One and several big brands on board that was not not seen in the same way as the way they did it. So I think I look up to them. So her and Rune that I raced for, Rune Fjeld Motorsports. So he had done 40 years in top, like in the nitro classes, both funny car and top fuel. Not behind the wheel. He also raced. He's raced the funny car, even been in US and raced. But he has produced so many great drivers throughout the years, and I can't remember how many drivers he has licensed, but it's an insane amount over in Europe. And when I raced over there, he had 3 cars. And when you see teams over here, you normally have 2 crew chiefs and a car chief. He was the crew chief of 3 cars. He tuned 3 cars when I was running. And I mean, that's in my mind, it's incredible that you can do that and have 3 competitive cars, especially doing so on a low budget and still doing everything himself. So him and his wife Lindsay, they build everything themselves in the workshop, and have everything ready when we went to the races. So I would put him up there, not just from like a driver standpoint, but for all the knowledge that he has done, and Leave as well. Over here, I still feel like Doug that I raced against in the final in this this past weekend. He's still in my mind one of the best drivers to do it out there. I feel like he's one that has great car control and great at great at driving, great at leaving, great consistency. And I know that a lot of people say, yeah, he only has one championship. Yeah, he's been close many times, and it's not been because of not having a great driver. I still see him as one of the best to ever do it. So I don't know who will put on the fourth, but there's a lot of great drivers over here in US, and I feel like a lot of drivers you look up to for different reasons. I mean, right now, if you look at it, obviously everybody will say Justin Ashley is in a league of his own when you look at reaction times, because I seriously have no idea how he does it. It's insane. I wish we could crack it and we could, all start doing that. I have no idea who it is. So with him, I feel like you look up to someone like him for his ability to leave the starting line and how he can do that consistently all the time. And then some drivers you might look up to how they are handling interviews, how they're handling press, how they're taking care of their sponsors, which is something that is so incredibly important in our sport. And then some of them, they might not be the best leaver, but they might be a fantastic driver in having car controls. Yeah, it's a hard one.
You got so many. You got so many to choose from.
Yeah,
So many
really
to
do.
choose from. So we kind of know you as the driver a little bit, but just kind of getting close to the finish line here, pun intended. Wanted to want to get to know you a little bit more. So let's go ahead here. What kind of music do you like?
Mostly rock. I listen to like rock or alternative, a little bit. Mostly I would say 80s to 2000s.
Classic
Um,
rock, huh? There you go. I like
and
it.
then,
I like
then it
it.
depends a little bit on my mood for race day. I can definitely be in the mood for some rap, you know,
My
2000s,
goodness.
90s rap a little bit. We
What
we do
what what
throw in a lot of uh, we have a lot of Eminem and 50 Cent on our playlist if we go on that route.
Wow.
Or otherwise, when we're on the rock
I
side, I listen to anything from Rammstein, AC/DC, um, Metallica, Motorhead, like whatever kind of works for that day. We can throw in some Linkin Park and
Linkin Park.
yeah,
Oh my
whatever we.
goodness.
There,
Wow.
it's a wild mix.
That's a pretty big list. Linkin Park and Eminem. I like it. I like it.
It's a big mix.
Although Linkin Park and Jay-Z, that was a great collaboration.
True,
With
true,
Encore. That was fantastic.
absolutely.
Um
That's on my list
so
as well.
yeah, well it should be on your list. If it's not on your list, it definitely should be. So you said it kind of varies in terms of race day. What if you're just kind of just hanging out, and maybe you're like editing a post or whatever?
I'm quite easy if I'm just usually then it's rock. Usually it's like 80s rock. Usually if I'm just hanging out. If I'm driving, it's gonna depend a little bit. If like if I'm driving to an event or so on, that's usually my go-to. But if I need to get like a little more amped up, or if I'm in a different mood, it might be a little more rap instead. The only thing you won't find me listen to is normally, country on a race day. That can't get me amped up.
Oh my goodness, we might as well just be best friends. I can't stand country. I
Okay,
cannot stand. I
I
can't.
can listen. I can listen to some newer stuff. I will say that um, there's some newer stuff that the guys play in the shop that I can get down with. More of kind of like a, what to say, like um country pop, whatever. Like that's fine in background, but not on race day. I cannot get amped up. It won't make my list. I'm sorry.
You can't get amped up about a guy talking about picking up a girl at a bar and going on their
No,
truck.
I'm
And
sorry. That won't do it for me.
I think for me the thing with country is I think the beats are fine. It's just I can't get the lyrics are just I can't get with the lyrics. That's my thing. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't do
Yeah,
it because
no,
some of them are so bad.
I agree
Uh,
with you 100%. It's that's why some of the newer stuff is a little better because I feel like it's less about that. But no, yeah, it's
I would even do classical before country. I mean, it's you put me in a
probably
car and I
same.
would listen
Yeah,
to like
no, yeah,
Beethoven before I
yeah,
hit the pedal. Might as well fall
yeah,
fall asleep. um,
exactly.
movies
Huh.
or TV series?
Um, TV series mostly. Yeah.
Which ones?
So I haven't watched TV like I don't have time to just watch. I usually do
Well, of course.
reruns. I do reruns of old stuff that just go on in the background. So usually I have recently I had Bones like reruns.
Oh,
I like
yeah.
that. I had NCIS reruns before that. Stuff that I've seen before. If I need to fall asleep, I put on Friends.
Uh,
So that or like Modern Family or something like that. So yeah.
if I was if I need to go to sleep, I'll put up Friends.
Well, just for me, I learned English watching Friends. So when I grew up,
Oh,
I watched it so much because I tried to learn. I'm terrible at learning languages. Like I flunked English. Yeah, it was not bad, or it was really bad. I had to try and do something. So I rewatched Friends with Swedish subtitles and then with English subtitles and then without subtitles. So I watched it so much that it is very much it's kind of like a comfort show, and it's not interesting because if I watch something that's interesting, I can't fall asleep. I'll be up all night. So it's got to be something I watched before and know what's happening, and then I can fall asleep.
so so this is going to be the most difficult question of the podcast. Then were Ross and Rachel were they on a break or no?
I don't know. It depends on who you ask.
I'm asking you. I want to know what you think. I'm asking you. I'm not asking myself.
I don't know. Well, probably we're on a break. That doesn't make it right, though.
That's the age old question. That's like the biggest debate in
Yeah,
TV history.
I don't think I would have liked that, even though it was a break, though.
Yeah, yeah. So you
Yeah.
would say like all those kind of crime shows you're more into for sure if you need something more interesting.
Yeah, I would say more something like that. If I put on a movie, it's an action comedy. It's just I can't put it on an action comedy and try to get work done at the same time because I will be watching that instead of working. So that's why I do the shows. And yeah, Bones and CAS, like the crime shows like that. That's usually my jams.
You're not a romantic comedy person.
I can enjoy one, but it's not like I put it on a whole lot. But that's more of like a movie, or what do you call it?
Yeah.
A flight movie. Like you go
Ah.
on the flight and there's something like that on TV. I'll watch that. That's fine. But I probably won't pick out one and just sit at home and watch it. But yeah.
So outside of motorsports, are you a fan of any other sports at all? Do you watch any other sports or obviously is it just motorsports through T for you?
No, I don't really watch any other sports. And when I moved here, I've learned that people like sports in this country, and I don't know a whole lot about them. So we don't have we don't have football like at home. What we call football is your soccer,
It's
and I
a
don't watch
yes,
that
yes.
either.
You
Yeah,
you have the correct football, yes.
yeah, and I don't watch that either. Baseball, I've been to two games. I went to a major league game recently, and then I went to a minor league and showed the first pitch. That was my first time I went to a
Oh, how
baseball
did you
game.
do?
They said it was a strike, so apparently it was all right. But I
Well
get so
done.
surprised when they gave me the ball because I thought it was gonna bounce. In my mind, it was gonna be like a tennis ball. I had no idea. I was shocked when I got it and I realized how hard that ball was. That
Yeah,
was
it
I'm
hurts.
learning all these new kind of sports, but I don't know anything about it. And first time I saw a football game, the only thing I asked, what was that? Why are they stopping? Why are there so many people down there? Yeah, I still don't understand how it works. So I probably need to attend some more games and get to learn how these sports works. Because yeah, I'm not great at it.
Well, I mean, within your schedule, of course, because we know how busy you are. So are you? What's next for you? Coming up here, are you going to be involved in any of the races, final races of the season, or are you just going to be trackside? Are you going to do NHRA TV? What's next for you here in the next couple weeks?
Um, yeah, tomorrow I'm driving to Detroit actually to record another podcast, and then I'll be back here in Indy. And then we're getting ready to head to Dallas. So Dallas is our next race, and then after Dallas, we are getting ready for Pomona. I'll be in Vegas for the Vegas race, so I'll be there working with NHRA, and I'll be at the SEMA event. But then I won't be racing at that race. So Pomona is our last one. So we're racing two of the three that are coming up now. So gonna hopefully make the most out of those two.
So schedule wise, it's a pretty good end to the season. Yeah, two out of the last three, you would say
Yeah, I agree
for
with that.
for for you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, well, look, obviously, I could keep talking to you all day because you're amazing, but unfortunately, time constraints and I know you're a busy girl. Look, I really appreciate you coming on the KO Convo. It's been awesome to talk with you again. Hopefully, we can meet in person next time. Maybe you come out to Sonoma next year or something like that. I don't know, but it's been awesome to talk to you, and all the best in Dallas and in Pomona. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I know I can make my answers very long, so I understand the time ran out, but I appreciate you having me on. I had a lot of fun.